Jake Paul is once again going to embarrass a UFC great in the boxing ring. Let's talk about it and who it is after the bumper station. What's good people? My name is JeffLightsYJr here with the Black Boss channel, Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, Jake Paul, yes, Jake Paul has somewhat taken over boxing as far as marketability, money, every pay-per-view buys, and everything. And so every time he has a fight, it's a big deal. And part of his shtick is that he fights people with big names, not necessarily people who are experienced, talented boxers, but people that have somewhat of a name. And his latest opponent will be UFC great Hall of Famer legend in Anderson Silva. Let's take a look at the ESPN article as Jake Paul will face Anderson Silva. It says Jake Paul has found his next opponent. He's a combat sports luminary. The YouTube star turned prize fighter will meet former UFC middleweight champion Anderson Silva in a boxing match on October 29th in Phoenix. Paul's most valuable promotions announced. The bout will be a contest at 187 over 8 3-minute rounds. Silva, who is 47 years old, is one of the greatest champions in UFC history and holds the record for most consecutive victories ever in UFC with 16. Quote, the plan is for me to fight at 185 going forward, and that's what I wanted this fight at, given it was the weight Anderson Silva fought at during his reign as the most dominant UFC champion ever, Paul told ESPN. Anderson's team asked if we could set the weight at 187, 2 more pounds than what I wanted. The level of professionalism and precision is appreciated, and of course, I agreed to his request. Paul was supposed to fight Tommy Fury last month at New York's Madison Square Garden, but Fury withdrew because he said there were travel issues coming to the United States from England. Fury's replacement was Hasim Rahman Jr., son of former boxing heavyweight champion, but that bout was canceled because of weight issues with Rahman. This will be Paul's 4th fight against a former UFC fighter, not a boxing guy, but a UFC fighter. Previously, Paul knocked out Ben Askren and went 2-0 against former UFC champion Tyron Woodley, the most recent bout being a knockout win over Woodley in December. Paul has not fought since December. Now, as we all know, Anderson Silva's way past his prime when he dominated UFC from 2006 to 2013. So we're talking about a guy that dominated UFC, which isn't boxing, 10 years ago. Really, like he dominated 15 years ago, but his last reign of domination ended in 2013. So he's way past his prime. But Silva does have some boxing in him. He is 3-1 as a pro boxer, with his best win coming over Julio Cesar Chavez last year. Silva fought Bruno Macho in an exhibition boxing match in May and looked solid. He was knocked out. He knocked out former UFC light heavyweight Tito Ortiz in boxing. So this is what Jake Paul's going to do, because Jake Paul is a brand. Jake Paul is going to get pay-per-view buys. And so he wanted to fight Tommy Fury. And the Tommy Fury thing I really thought was going to be I thought it was going to be his biggest challenge. But Tommy Fury, in all honesty, I think Tommy Fury was just scared. He says the visa stuff, I'm not totally buying the visa stuff. He said U.S. wouldn't let him over with his visa because of COVID, because of all this stuff. I'm not buying it. I'm on Jake Paul's side with that. I don't think that was right. I'm not crazy about Jake Paul beating up on all these old, Silva's 37 years old, or 47 years old. These old UFC guys. But one, they have a name. Woodley had a name. Askren had somewhat of a name. And Silva has a huge name. And 2, if these folks are willing to do it, Jake Paul's got to be able to get something out of it. In my assumption, you can't just not get anything out of it. I get it. You don't want to fight a real good boxer, and you want to have someone who is going to pull some form of a demographic out. Because Silva was a former fighter, UFC, not boxing, but was a fighter, was a dominant fighter, was a dominant champion, and was going to go down as one of the greatest ever. Jake Paul gets out of it the bragging rights of saying, hey, I beat a former big-time champion. Now, granted, he's way past his prime. Granted, he's not the same dude he used to be. And this technically isn't his sport. He still is a champion. And Jake Paul has to have something to put on his belt. Something to say, okay, I am steadily improving, because this guy is supposed to be a step above Tyron Woodley, a step above a few steps above Ben Askren, and he is someone of some form of notoriety. Now, what do I think is going to happen? I think Jake Paul is going to wipe the floor with I can't even think his name. Anderson Silva. He's going to wipe the floor with Anderson Silva. Like, one, Paul's a bigger dude. Paul walking around weight is 200 pounds. He says he wants to fight at 185, and that makes sense. But his walking around weight is 200 pounds. He's been boxing for a long time, and he's 24 years old. Silva's 47. He's about to work this dude to death. He's about to work dude. And Paul's not, he's a decent boxer. He's not bad. So he's going to work Silva. He's going to put another notch in his belt. He's going to make a ton of money from this. He's going to get a bunch of pay-per-view buys, and bravo to him, because his marketing is A1 top notch. And then hopefully we get a fight between him and a real boxer. Hopefully we get the fight between him and Tommy Fury. Hopefully we continue to see him up his game, because at this point I'm just rooting for Jake Paul. I can't even be mad at him, bro. I'm rooting for bro. I hope bro goes out there and continues to make his money, because one thing that he brings to boxing is entertainment. There's a ton of good boxers out there, from the Chalo twins, Tank Davis, to I don't think Ryan Garcia is that good. Devin Haney, but Ryan Garcia is out there. Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson. There's a bunch of guys, but the promoters get in the way of boxing too much. Jake Paul goes out there, fights the dudes who say they want to fight him anyway, or at least tries to make it happen in Tommy Fury's case, and then keeps it moving. Has no bias towards anyone. He's just about making his money, and he's the highest selling boxer, one of the highest selling boxers in the sport right now. Floyd's not in the sport actively, so right up there with Jake Paul is really no one. He's in like a league of his own. So more power to the man, man. What you think about this? Let me know in the comments. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsyJr. at the Black Boss Channel on Victory Formation. Thank you, guys. Subscribe to the Black Boss Channel at theblackbosschannel.com. Hit that thumbs up button. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That is Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.